Betsy DeVos is Donald Trump's selection for Secretary of Education. She was destroyed yesterday. This is one of the most embarrassing performances I've seen at a cabinet confirmation hearing. I would argue probably ever. This was a total gong show, hilarity and simultaneously horrifying and scary. The big picture problem is Betsy DeVos is going to be Secretary of Education, and she doesn't even really believe in the concept of funding secular public schools. Before I play a couple of clips for you, let me set the stage to explain to you how nutty this billionaire is. In a 2001 interview, she said, I'll just put the quote up on the screen, and this relates to religion and education. This is from Mother Jones. In a 2001 interview for The Gathering, a group focused on advancing Christian faith through philanthropy, she and her husband offered a rare public glimpse of their views. Asked whether Christian schools should continue to rely on philanthropic dollars rather than pushing for taxpayer money through vouchers, Betsy DeVos replied, quote, "There are not enough philanthropic dollars in America to fund what is currently the need in education versus what is currently being spent every year on education in this country. Our desire is to confront the culture in ways that will continue to advance God's kingdom." That is the incoming Secretary of Education's priority with regard to funding and donating to education. Is anybody shocked that the religious nut who likes charter schools and has $5 billion might not be the best person to figure out how to improve public school education for everybody? And it became very clear during these confirmation hearings that she has no clue what the hell is going on. Let's start with Al Franken. Al Franken utterly embarrassed Betsy DeVos and asked a very simple question about a prevalent issue in education, which is proficiency versus growth. This is a total cringe moment. If you're allergic to cringe, I would skip the next minute and 44 seconds because it is really difficult to watch. Take a look at this.
This brings me to the issue of proficiency, which the senator cited, versus growth. And I would like your views on the relative advantage of measuring, doing assessments and using them to measure proficiency or to measure growth.
Good luck.
Well, thank you, Senator, for that question. I think if I'm understanding your question correctly,
which you're not,
around proficiency, I would also correlate it to competency and mastery, so that each student is measured according to the advancement that they're making in each subject area.
Well, that's growth. That's not proficiency. So in other words, the growth they're making is in growth. The proficiency is an arbitrary standard.
If they've reached a level, the proficiency is if they've reached a like third grade level for reading, et cetera.
No, I'm talking about the debate between proficiency and growth.
Yes.
And what your thoughts are on them.
Well, I was just asking to clarify then.
Well, this is a subject that has been debated in the education community for years. And I've advocated growth, as the chairman and every member of this committee knows, because with proficiency, teachers ignore the kids at the top who are not going to fall below proficiency, and they ignore the kid at the bottom who, no matter what they do, will never get to proficiency. So I've been an advocate of growth.
Yeah.
But it surprises me that you don't know this issue.
I'm not surprised. Yeah. That's difficult to watch, isn't it? I almost start to feel bad for her, except then I remember she's got $5 billion and would destroy public education. So then I'm like, okay, maybe she deserves to be embarrassed here. That is difficult to watch.
Yeah, it's very difficult to watch. I mean, I guess we've seen this before with Trump when he doesn't understand kind of the fundamental purpose of an issue or a topic that
he's better though at delaying and not answering. She just didn't clearly expose Pat that she has no idea what's going on.
But he also has Kellyanne.
Yes, he has Kellyanne coming.
And given that it's with Al Franken, it kind of reminds me of his SNL days, and this is just a parody.
Right. No, it's indistinguishable from a parody. Okay, next, Betsy DeVos said she's not going to rule out adding a lot of guns to schools because of grizzly bears.
Do you think that guns have any place in or around schools?
I think that's best left to locales and states to decide. If the underlying question is,
You can't say definitively today that guns shouldn't be in schools?
well, I will refer back to Senator Enzi and the
Or whoever.
school that he was talking about in Wapiti, Wyoming. I think probably there, I would imagine that there's probably a gun in the school to protect from potential grizzlies.
If President Trump moves forward with his plan to ban gun-free school zones, will you support that proposal?
I will support what the president-elect does.
Is she Secretary of Education or Secretary of Local Wildlife? I mean, potential grizzly bears in Wapiti? What's the name of that town? Wapiti, Wyoming?
Yeah.
And here's a back and forth with Senator Tim Kaine on whether she supports equal accountability for all schools. And I can't even explain this. It's about as bad as the Al Franken exchange.
Do you think that schools that receive K-12 schools that receive government funding should meet the same accountability standards, outcome standards?
All schools that receive public funding should be accountable, yes.
Should meet the same accountability standards?
Yes, although you have different accountability standards
Well-
between traditional public schools and charter schools.
Well, that's the question.
But I'm really interested in this. Should
Okay,
everybody
well-
be on a level playing field? So public charter, or private K-12 schools, if they receive taxpayer funding, they should meet the same accountability standards?
Yes, they should be very transparent with the information, and parents should have that information first and foremost.
And if confirmed, will you insist upon that equal accountability in any K-12 school or educational program that receives federal funding, whether public charter, or private?
I support accountability.
Equal accountability for all schools that receive federal funding.
I support accountability.
Okay, is that a yes or no?
I support accountability.
Do you not want to answer my question?
I support accountability.
Okay, let me ask you this. I think all schools that receive taxpayer funding should be equally accountable. Do you agree with me or not?
Well, they don't. They're not today.
But I think they should. Do you agree with me or not?
Well, no, because
You don't agree with me. Let me.
The latest firmware update is glitchy because she's stuck on repeat again, like Marco Rubio. She doesn't want to commit to an answer, Pat, because she doesn't understand the question.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you choose someone for a role like this based on their ties and their wealth rather than their experience. She just doesn't know how to artfully answer that question.
And the cherry on top, Betsy DeVos' family has made contributions that support so-called gay conversion therapy, something that fortunately has been banned for kids in California. Today's show is brought to you by GoDaddy, where you can buy your own domain name, build a website, or use any of GoDaddy's business tools. You can save 30% at trygodaddy.com/David. GoDaddy has actually been the official host of the David Pakman Show website for many, many, many years. The 24/7 customer support has been a very good thing for us. I've called them at really odd times when we've had website issues, and they are always available. They are the largest domain registrar, and whether you have a new idea, you're an established business, you're creating a personal website, or moving your large enterprise site over to GoDaddy, they can do it all. 13 million customers. Try it and get 30% off at trygodaddy.com/David.